Today on Hobby Toku Anime, we're going to talk about something I've been thinking of doing for a while, and that is another edition of me talking about hobby. And today is what fitting because this week when I record this, certain events happening, and we're going to talk about all the types of that franchise, and that is Beyblade. Yes, in celebration of 321 Go Shoot Day, we're going to talk about Beyblade types of series as a big basics video. Got that? Good. Let's begin. Hey everyone! Hey everyone! Koto the Carman. Time for another edition of Hobby Toku Anime. And today we're talking about hobby and sort of an anime, and that is Beyblade. We're going to talk about each era of Beyblade from metal first and a plastic to maybe adding X as a little foreshadowing because X is now coming up and stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk about Beyblade today. And I'm sorry, I wanted my first video on my old channel to be Beyblade B-Force reviews, but I might do that eventually. Who knows? Only time will tell. But now let's talk about Beyblade system. Okay. The first Beyblade system with the plastic gen is basically the 4-piece system, which are the bit, attack ring, defense ring, and base. And basically the difference with this base is it doesn't have a spin gear, which is the next system. Spin gear is basically the Beyblade equivalent of having left or right option for your bay. Depending on what it is, you could do either left or right for the spin track, and that's basically it. Next up is the Magnet Core system. This is actually a system that's basically the whole gimmick with the Magnet Core. It's now magnetic. Has special rods on underneath the stadium you could attach with underneath and do things with it. And basically the other cool thing about the Magnet Gear is it also has defense rings that are magnetic for some of the weaker magnetic bays, which either south or north, depending on where you flip it up or down, up being red, red being north, and blue being south, if you know your magnets. Got that? Good. Next up is Engine Gear, which is the penultimate of the original series with gimmicks. But this is basically gimmick is it spins around like a gyro action with the spin gear. And now the blade base has a hole, so you can now do combos like that. And basically the main differences are red ones are like right spin with left spinning action. Red is left spin with right spinning. Blue is right spinning. The opposite of that. Like they're basically the left is blue and red is right. And basically the gimmick is you wind them up with a special winder and you basically spin them like that. It's a good system, good way to end the original run, but we're not done. We still have our first of many okay systems, and that is the HMS, hard metal system, or heavy metal system in Japan. Basically, this system is awesome. They go left or right. They're very small, which is kind of like, and they're made out of metal instead of plastic, which is fitting to our next era, or the first of Bursts. And just to know, most Beyblade series start off with one manga exclusive era before the anime comes out. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. But anyhow, time for Beyblade Metal Saga, which is basically the gimmick of the basic 4 system, which is now facebolt, attack, wheel, track, and bottom. Basically, that's the thing. Then they added the hybrid wheel system, where the wheel now has a clear wheel and a regular hybrid wheel. The hybrid wheel is the attack part, and the clear wheel's the top of it. But basically, this is for things like Storm Pegasus or El Drago. And yes, left spinning shows up first in Metal Saga. In Metal Saga at the beginning of the series, more closely to the beginning than our next one. And next up is basically 4D. Yep. Before we get to 4D, I forgot to mention the weird second season, which didn't have a new gimmick, but it had a sub theme called the Maximum Series. Yes, the Maximum Series is basically the strongest, the most powerful Beyblades of that style. Strongest, longest track, heaviest, heaviest attack, fastest and heaviest attack, highest highest wheel, highest track. It's kind of a weird gimmick, but it's kind of great. But now let's talk about the 4D system, where the wheel is now back to being all metal or plastic with one exception. But basically, system is a wheel that can turn into two different modes, or four or three, depending on what it is, just to know. And also, we have a few tips that turn it into trunks and tip bottoms fused together to make super trip bottoms, I like to call them. Basically, the main one is Pegasus's Unite Extreme Rubber thing, which I forgot the name. Final Drive, I think that's what it's called. So, Final Drive, yeah. After that, we got a system called Zero G. Yep, our final burst Metal Saga. This is part of Zero G that kind of dinks is they're basically Robble stadiums, and in this case, the bays are round, so nothing really new, different, except for the tracks are now top instead of the bottom. But a metal piece can combine with another metal piece to form what Zero G is also called Synchron System, where you have two different bays fused together to make a very big, stronger bay, even if that's more overpowered for tournaments, which that's another show. But anyhow, point that's it for Metal Saga. Now let's talk about the last current era of Beyblade. That's not the newest, but the previous, and that is Burst. Starting off with the Burst basic stuff. Really, this is three parts. Energy, a layer, disc, and driver. Basically, those are your four parts, three parts. Do that. Then Metal Season 2 is dual layer, where the layer, instead of being one part plastic, it's now two pieces of plastic, different types. So anyhow, that's what I mean. Does that, and surprisingly, get our first left bay in the second era, being Longinus, and also Fatnir next season, which, speaking of next season, we're now in season 2, which is the Beyblade Burst God era. Basically, God era is great with the freaking Burst Evolution, or Burst God. Basically, as a whale part, additional added frame piece for the wheel and for the disc. And the disc wheels are kind of good, kind of great. And also the introduction, making Spriggan now a villain, is kind of great, but anyhow, that's in the story. Next up is Beyblade Burst Turbo. For this system, they're metal. Oh wait, this is hasbro, no metal, sorry. So kind of disappointing. And they have a special thing called a level chip, which you could add for most of them of the basics. And the ones you don't are special because they're part of the Burst Lock system, which, no, not Burst Lock. I think Burst Lock system, which is basically version 2 for Spriggan, new version of Spriggan, new version of Phoenix, the main villain of the season, and also Valkyrie and Achilles. Those burst system is basically when you get ready to burst, they have spreaded wings, or that locks the ability to burst easier, making the bursting gimmick protecting with a shield flab. Got that? Good. Next up is the Chosen series, or Beyblade Burst Rise, which basically this era is good. Like, I like this gimmick in Japan, but America, not good. Like, that's the problem with Metal Burst, is a lot of stuff suck at the beginning, but anyhow, that's the problem. Anyhow, let's begin with freaking Burst. Basically, the Gachi system, how it works is it's basically weight layer and bottom layer and bit chip. You do that, do the bay, And that's basically it for the differences. Next up is the infinite lock system, which is basically a sub gimmick where the bays can't lock, and also super gotchi where they don't have any weights, but they're very bigger for two being only for two being for Dragon and whatever the rival friend is, Diablo. Yeah, so that's really it. Next up for the penultimate real season, Beyblade Burst Sparking, and basically this gimmick is sparking system is the launchers now shoot spark, only the string launchers. Sorry about ripcord, sorry. In Japan, that is. But anyhow, the point is basically the gimmick is sparking chip core with a chip, a core, and a layer, and you get those. That's it. Next up is the burst lock system sparking version, which is basically the same kind of thing, but way more has a weight instead of a chassis. Yes, chassis is sparking's other difference. Is it has normal chassis and dual chassis. Difference is a single chassis is just the normal layer of it, like just that, but you need a disc for a dual chassis. Got that? Good. Basically, that's it for sparking. Now for Beyblade Burst Quad Strike. Quad Surge. Quad Drive. Yeah, Quad Drive. Beyblade Burst Quad Drive is really good because this year in Japan had the gear system, which is only for the main character, but you can buy the normal bays, and sparking bays are basically same with spark, kind of like sparking, but different with the layer, chip, and other things. This system is good, okay, but really the DLC part of it is great for the main character with the layer gimmicks, which is kind of great, kind of weird, but anyhow, that's Beyblade. And next up, Beyblade vs. Quad Drive. Yep, this is not really a thing. Really, in Japan, the gimmick for Turbo was rails, and Scourge was a lifting up with a gyroscopic tip. But really, the gyroscopic tip is back for Quad Strike. Yep, I'm not kidding. That's a reference, just to know. And now let's wrap this up with the new card series, Beyblade X. And Beyblade X is kind of good. Like, really, this is one of the best Beyblade series, in my opinion now, with the ratchet layer and bottom. And basically, the layer part is the attack part. The ratchet is the middle part that you attach the bottom with. And the bottom can spin around the attack part, and basically, the logo can spin around, which is kind of cool. And now the rails. Now we have rails in Beyblade officially, not counting Americans as an example with Turbo. But anyhow, point is that. And also, this is an updated thing, but there's now Burst Ultimate or Unlimited. I forget, BXU, which are more gimmicky based with special abilities, but they're going to be separate than the BX. So BX is regular, while BWX is more like unlimited and more gimmicky. For now, I'm guessing. Only time will tell for the future, because that's it for the present of this video. And hope you like video, and happy 3, 2, 1 go shoot day for you. Next time I might do something with X-Men maybe, because I did a post just recently. Only time will tell. Maybe you might be role playing. Only time will tell. Just come out saying bye-bye for now.